Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ring Ramble podcast. My name is V,
My name's Brad.
and this was a good week of shows. We went to a live show. We actually went to the Monday Night Raw. It was a great show, actually, and probably even better than the last one that we had gone to. And that says a lot because the first match was Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes the last time we went. But it was a really great night. I really liked it a lot.
Full of surprises.
Obviously, full of surprises.
Full of surprises.
We'll get to that, but I'm sure everybody at this point knows what happened. So yeah, Monday Night Raw, September 23rd edition. That is the show we attended. The show starts with Liv and Dominic pulling up in a lowrider while they make their way to the ring. Bronson and Braun Strowman slam into the merch stand, and the referees basically hoard that area. Liv and Dominic make their way through the backstage and approach the ring, being very affectionate as they do so. I was cringing at that whole time. It felt very uncomfortable. Liv tells the crowd that they just did a victory lap and it's for winners, and no one in the crowd are winners. That hurts. That hurts. I was there.
Yeah.
Liv says, if you need proof as to who runs Raw, roll the clip, which was funny because they showed Dom losing at the very start of that clip. And then, of course, the Terror Twins get jumped by the Judgment Day. Liv promised to take everything from Rhea, and she did so. She got the Women's World Championship, the Judgment Day, and Dominic. And then she gave him an Eskimo kisses. And then Rhea Ripley, which I was so happy about, because last time we went to a show, Rhea Ripley was only on a digital interview with Nia Jax. She was just on the screen, because that was leading up to Elimination Chamber. But Rhea Ripley interrupts, asks Liv to shut up and that she isn't going to hit her, guaranteed. The crowd was chanting "Mommy." I was chanting "Mommy." And Liv yells, "Shut up" to the crowd. Rhea told Liv that she has something to tell Liv, and Dom got protective over Liv. Liv said maybe Dom would have stayed with Rhea if she cared half as much for him as she does for Damian Priest, which is not wrong, honestly. Liv Morgan said that she's upset over the... Liv Morgan said that Rhea is upset over this match coming to Bad Blood because Rhea has been hurt on the leg. Liv says that Rhea mentally has been beat by her for months. Rhea replies that she is clear for Bad Blood, and the message is for both her and Dom. Since Dom wants to stick his nose in the business of the Women's World Championship, and is the only reason that Liv has retained, Adam Pearce decided that Dom would be behind bars in a shark cage hanging above the ring at Bad Blood. So now that Liv has nowhere to run, Rhea claims she will get back what she never lost. And then immediately headbutts Liv hard. I heard it from all the way up there, and makes her way away from the ring. Immediately when this happened, I just thought of, the original plan for the Dominic custody battle match. It was supposed to be Dominic was hanging above the ring.
Right.
So I felt like in some ways that was homage to those parts. Like that.
I just thought it was funny because they're triggering his PTSD because he spent hard time in prison.
That's right.
So he didn't want to go back in that cell.
Exactly.
That was kind of funny that they were kind of pushing that.
That whole narrative.
Yeah, that whole narrative was hilarious.
But pretty interesting. I was honestly really shocked that was the angle that they're going to go with. But, it's kind of cool to see it.
But obviously he's going to toss something down.
Yeah, he's going to throw something down, and then obviously the Judgment Day are going to do something. They're going to play a part. And I feel like part of that, too, is going to be if Finn Balor shows up to also participate in the Judgment Day, then Damian's going to want to come in, most likely Jey Uso. But Damian, I feel like if this match happens prior to Damian's match with Finn, Damian's going to get hurt, and that's going to cost him the match against Finn Balor, which I'm like, I hope that that's the case because I want to see my boy Finn win. So
Me too.
Yeah. So the first match of the night was Sami Zayn versus Ludwig Kaiser. I swear Sami looked in my direction.
I went to the concession stand during that time, so I didn't get to see that.
It was really cool, though. I'm not the biggest Sami Zayn fan now, but I used to be as a kid. It was
cool
really
to see
cool
him
seeing
live,
him live.
It is cool to see him live and to see the energy that he brings when he comes out. The music was, his intro was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I came in right when his music was
halfway
through, and he was in the ring. So I didn't get to hear the "Let's Go" part.
Yeah.
Which would have been kind of cool to see.
You heard it at the end.
I heard it when I was walking.
No,
up the
but at
stairs.
the end.
Yeah, but it still doesn't have the same effect.
Okay, well, Ludwig had most of the upper hand during this match. Sami Zayn landed on top of the barricade, anticipating a moonsault, but was pushed by Ludwig into the chair, which is Samantha Irving's chair. Sami delivers a powerbomb. Ludwig runs around the ring and delivers 2 boots to Sami's face against the steel steps. This is the most disappointing part. We get to see Sami Zayn wrestle, and he almost did a Blue Thunder Bomb and then never used it again.
Single Blue Thunder Bomb was done.
That sucks.
I know, it sucked. We were waiting for it. I was
and
hoping.
If you would have won,
I mean, I was hoping I was gonna yell Blue Thunder Bomb. 1, 2,
No
way.
Ludwig rolled up Sami and put his legs on the rope for leverage, and the ref noticed his cheating ways, calling off the pin. Sami delivers an exploder for the second time, but gets kicked hard in the face. Eventually, Sami gets the upper hand again and gives a suplex into a haluva kick on the ring corner where we were closest to, which was cool.
It was cool.
And Gunther came out after Sami won, and he came in his gear.
In his gear, yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm like, oh my god. This is hilarious. But Gunther tells Sami for weeks he has been begging him for a match for the World Heavyweight Championship, and he has seen enough. If he really wants this more than anything else, that Ontario is the best place on earth for the match. Best place to step up to tell Sami right here, right now. No. I was like,
10,000 people just gasped in unison on that one.
Oh, dude, I thought that was so funny.
It was funny.
I was glad that he did that. Honestly, that was hilarious.
Me too.
I love me some Gunther. Yeah, he's awesome. Even if it was just for that little moment. All right, segment. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston speak backstage. Kofi brings stuff that he found from the archive, WWE archive of the New Day. Xavier entertains it, but he tells Kofi he would rather not go back in the past. It was fine to do whatever they wanted while being champs, but they haven't won anything in a long time. Kofi says he hasn't been taking things seriously, but for the next few weeks, Xavier will call the shots. American Made came in to say that they aren't serious competition, and Xavier replied that they should go and show American Made who's boss. A man with pancakes pulls up and Kofi signals him to go away, which I thought was pretty funny. But what was especially funny was fucking Brutus Creed with the nerds, like all high pitched.
Yeah, his laugh was great, and I think that's probably going to
hilarious.
be a new catchphrase for that guy.
Probably.
Just to build his character.
And immediately after that, Liv and Dom are complaining to Adam Pearce about the match rules of the Shark Cage. Adam says that this decision is final. JD and Carlito show up to talk about teaching the LWO a lesson. Ilya Dragunov shows up to tell JD that he will do nothing. And JD says his luck is still in this week, but he will see Ilya around. Ilya tells him to keep walking. I was so sad. I was like, maybe we'll get a match.
Did something happen during their the Speed Championship or something with them? Did they have some sort of rivalry going on?
No,
because
there's been I can't quite remember. I'm pretty sure we talked about this already though, but I don't really remember. But Ilya Dragunov was being confronted by the Judgment Day in a previous promo on a different Raw. And like I think they were trying to recruit him or something like that, but he didn't want anything to do with it.
I don't think I recall
I can't quite remember it, but when I was looking up pictures for the promo, I saw a previous one where he was talking to the Judgment Day.
Okay.
So yeah. I thought we were going to see an Ilya Dragunov match, but who knows? We got a new kitty, and we named him Ilya after Ilya Dragunov.
Yes.
Dragon Lee. Oh, this was... okay. Okay, so I mentioned this in the previous video. I said there was no updates for what matches would happen.
It had only
at
3
Raw.
matches.
There was only 3.
Well, that was actually,
well,
2 matches and 1 segment?
One segment. Drew
Yeah.
McIntyre segment, Sammy versus Ludwig, and Jey Uso versus
That
Braun
was
Breaker.
it.
That was it. But, oh, God, I was so hyped. Dragon Lee with LWO at ringside versus Carlito with Judgment Day at ringside. So glad. We were so hyped for this.
We got to see
love
him
Dragon
sport
Lee.
his new gear.
Yes.
Which was kind
It
of a
looked
hit.
cool
It
from
looked
where we
cool
were
from afar,
at.
but like
But then
on
when we
TV,
watched
it
it,
was
we're
like,
like,
oh, it looks kind of goofy, but it's cool though. Still, I mean, the fact that he has a dragon mask and
True.
everything, yeah, I mean, awesome.
Also, I'll pull it back though. But in the previous picture from the Sammy and Ludwig Kaiser match, in this picture, I'll put it right here. Right where Sami Zayn's face is, on the first row of that top section. My dad's the closest, and then I'm right next to it. We're blurry figures, but we were there.
Maybe put a circle around it.
Yeah, I'll put a circle around it.
All right.
But anyways, yeah, good match. It didn't really last very long. Dominic and JD were trying to interfere during this match. No Finn Balor, unfortunately. But Rey Mysterio showed up to jump onto Dominic, which was so awesome.
That was awesome to see Rey.
Yeah, and Dragon Lee gave his finisher, Operation Dragon, and won the match. Pretty good.
Good stuff.
Backstage, The Miz is seen talking to Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross came in to ask if The Miz knows what he's doing, asking for this match against Bronson Reed. Miz says he asked for this match and he doesn't understand why no one believes him. Karrion tells Miz that monsters come in all different shapes and sizes, and Miz leaves and Karrion looks a little bit devious, I must say. Then Sheamus is backstage and is asked about Pete Dunne. Sheamus basically chants, call him Butch, and told the crowd to call him Butch. I did not chant, don't call him Butch. I have respect for him.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And he has a score to settle with Pete Dunne. He finished the segment to make make this an English-Irish thing, but I don't understand because I'm not from those places. But anyways, Bronson Reed versus The Miz. Before Bronson could even get to the ring, Braun Strowman jumps at him, which was cool because he came in right under where we were, and I actually saw him before he showed up, but my dad didn't for some reason.
Didn't catch it.
The Miz gets mad at Braun because he wanted this match. Bronson jumps onto The Miz and Braun. Bronson beats up the security guards who came in, delivering a tsunami.
Future wrestlers, remember.
He delivered a tsunami onto two men who were on top of each other. Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed destroyed the security guards to get to each other. Adam keeps bringing more security. Bronson and Braun are both on the top rope, intending to possibly, what it looked like, break the ring, which I was like, oh my god. I even have a video of that moment from my phone. And they are separated again, but to no avail. Braun approached the top rope, intending to splash onto Bronson and the guards, and then Bronson is eventually shoved away. Alright. Drew McIntyre comes out to address CM Punk's threats over their match at Bad Blood last week. If you see tiny arms waving at the very top section on the front, that's me. You see very pale arms. Watching it back, I realized how damn pale I am. Because next to you, I look like white as snow. And you look very red.
I did.
Yeah, Drew says that he's been thinking of CM Punk's words from last week, and noticed that the look in Punk's eyes meant that he really meant what he said. He is ready to sacrifice everything, and so is Drew. Drew admits that he doesn't want to go back inside Hell in a Cell. It's broken things in him that he cannot explain. He acknowledges that Punk's family has been asking him not to do this match, and his family too has begged them not to do this match. Crowd chants CM Punk, and it doesn't matter what anyone thinks about this match. It is happening, and Drew promises that he will make Punk bleed a lot and make Punk suffer the most that he's ever had. Drew says that Punk is a man who is so broken so easily in the past, and a man he will break permanently inside the Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. I'm hyped for that match, honestly.
I'm actually pretty stoked about it too.
I'm pretty stoked.
It should be a good one.
Backstage, Jackie Redmond is with Adam Pearce over the Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman match. Adam plans to conclude this rivalry next week on Raw, and it will be a last monster standing. Not man. Backstage, there was some noise, and Pete Dunne was seen beating up Sheamus. Let's go.
Rightly deserved.
Exactly. Oh, dude, this is another surprise match. Io Sky and Kairi Sane are visited by Bianca and Jade. Bianca asked Io if she wasn't, Bianca asked Io if she wasn't. Oh, she wants a rematch. Bianca won't let Io win again, and Io says that she looks forward to a rematch against, Bianca. Damage Control is coming for those titles after that rematch, and Bianca and Jay tell them to be on their toes for the match that's coming up against Holy Union. No matter who wins, no one is taking the titles from them, so they claim. So, Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Idol Down versus Damage Control, Io Sky and Kairi Sane.
We could stop calling them Damage Control, though. Maybe get rid of that.
Well, they're still Damage Control.
Wow.
The Unholy Union capitalized on Kairi Sane's eye injury Isla nearly hit Alba, distracting them so Kyrie couldn't tag in Io. Io gets tagged in. Io was basically rolling this whole match. She was doing very great. Even if she botched her flip, she still recovered very well.
She did.
Io took a really nasty kick from Alba Fire. Isla gave a cheap shot to Io, and Kyrie gave the insane elbow to Alba onto ringside. And Io gave the moonsault to Isla and won the match. It was a pretty good, quick match. It was a great match. There was a mystery vignette showing strange letterings in the circular shape. Do you remember that, Dad? And we were kind of like, who that?
It's the Viking Raiders.
It's the Viking Raiders, yes. Backstage, Braun Breaker is being interviewed about the main event against Jey Uso. Braun says that all that happens is that there will be a winner and a loser. This championship deserves the right champion to carry this title. Braun says that he's sorry, but it's not Jey. But he will give him a rematch a couple months down the line. Braun asserts that he will be champ for a very, very long time. That aged poorly. Also, I lost my voice a little bit after this event. I was barking like crazy, let's just say.
As was I.
Yeah, we were both barking like
every time a yeet came, we barked.
We barked instead. Jey Uso seen backstage, and basically Sammy tells Jey to make the IC title his. That's essentially that. This was another surprise match, which kind of surprise. The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods versus the American-made Brutus and Julius Creed. Nice kick between the ropes by Kofi Kingston. Dude, I was going to mention this. The American-made merch looks exactly like the American Alpha merch. Like, spinning image. They look exactly the same.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Just a few details, but basically the same. I find it appalling that Xavier even has a chance against either of the Creeds during this match. Gable sneakily attacks Xavier while the ref was distracted. You can hear Chad at some point say about Brutus Creed, that's American-made muscle, baby. You can't get that anywhere else. Which I thought was pretty funny. Brutus missed his step attempting towards the top rope to Xavier. Joe Tessitore called a normal kick the Trouble in Paradise, which I was like, that doesn't even remotely look like it.
He's still learning.
Nice. I know, right? When I said at the show too, I said if Ilya Dragunov has a match, if I was closer, I would have been like, it's called Torpedo Moscow. Yeah. Well, anyways, nice flip by Kofi. Chad distracts Xavier Woods. Xavier drags Chad in appearing very angry and vengeful. Xavier is jumped, and Brutus does the Brutus ball for the win. Pretty good match. I'm so glad to see Chad Gable. I saw him last time. I was so happy. I'm American Alpha all the way, so glad to see him. Damian Priest is seen in a vignette basically talking smack to Finn and talking about their eventual match at Bad Blood. That's basically it. This was hilarious though, because earlier in the day we saw the main event, which is like the pre-show matches. It was Akira Tozawa versus Karrion Kross, which, oh my god, I was awesome. So happy to see Karrion Kross. And the female match was Zoe Stark versus Lyra Valkyria, which is awesome. But you know what, my dumbass, Lyra Valkyria came first. And I thought it was Nathan Frazier because it had the lightning in the beginning. I was like, yo. Yeah. Yeah. Because I thought, honestly, I don't follow speed, so I honestly thought that it was probably still going.
I had to quickly correct her on that one that it was
I know. I was like, wait a minute. It's a women. I forgot that it has to have the women one. Well, anyways, Zoe Stark lost that one, and Karrion Kross won his. But this is what's funny about this one. Pure Fusion Collective vignette talking about how everyone in the women's division are losers, and they will elevate the women's division together, which I'm like, you guys lost, though.
That's what I was saying. I was like, but you guys lost today.
Backstage, the New Day is seen visited by the LWO. Rey Mysterio is apologizing for the bad call last week. Xavier says the apology they want is a shot at the tag team titles, and he insults Rey about being a bad father to Dom. Rey's gonna make his what does it say? Oh, what? Okay. Rey's basically gonna go after Finn next week.
He's gunning for Finn Balor.
But Xavier says that he thinks no one has time for him because he's not a singles champion or has never been. Rey says, okay, you got your fight next week. And then Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman ad for their last Monsters Standing match, which I thought was fucking hilarious.
So this is where we're going with Xavier Woods and the New Day, since Odyssey Jones is no longer there.
Yeah, I guess so.
But it makes sense because that is Xavier Woods. He was pretty much the third wheel.
Guy.
He was the third wheel of the New Day.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's just trying to be bitter. So eventually he will turn heel.
All right, main event: Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. Somehow Jey Uso was kicking Braun's ass in the very beginning. I'm not a Jey hater. I'm a Braun lover. Okay, let's just get that. Let's just get that straight. I'm a Braun lover, not a Jey hater. I'm a Braun lover all day.
All right,
I can confirm that
all
the
right.
crowd was very loud for Jey Uso.
They were.
And also Braun, but
Yeah.
mostly
It was
Jey.
it was a Jey Uso place.
Oh yeah, and it was last time because Jey Uso versus Gunther was the main event the last time we went,
Well, yeah,
and
he
it
was
was
also
very
born
loud for
he
Jey.
was also born in San Francisco.
That's true. Last time we went, like I said, main event. The main event was Jey, and the crowd was hyped for him. And that I even saw social media were commenting on how good of a crowd they were last time and today, or not today, but this week. Speaking of which, throughout most of the match, the crowd was chanting, "Walk that dog." Walk that dog. It was pretty funny.
It was.
Joe and Wade mentioned that this is a lot of support for Jey that they've heard in a long time. However, Braun was dominating Jey immediately after Jey was getting his way. Jey and Braun were kind of dancing together to land a suplex, but Braun threw Jey onto his stomach on the top rope. Braun gave a clothesline / bulldog kind of looking move onto Jey's head on the commentary desk. Braun gave Jey a gutbuster. Nasty Samoan drop by Jey. Frankensteiner by Braun. He did it on the corner we were at. He did it for me.
Jeez.
Like I said. Like I said, Braun lover. All right. This was hilarious, though. Yeet and bark chants were so fun to do when they were exchanging blows. It was so fun. I did both, too.
No, I was just barking.
I did both because I was like, this was really fun.
I just barked.
It was so funny. Like, usually it's like barks in a row, but it was just, oh, each time. All right. A quick military press slam by Braun. I'm so glad that he did it. I even said, like, is he going to do it? He did it. Braun runs around the ring to spear Jey on ringside. He bounces between the ropes, and Jey ends up spearing Braun. Uso splash combo, and I thought that was it.
That was it.
But it was a near 3. Perfect execution by Braun there with that kick out.
10,000 people gasped.
Yeah, I had goosebumps and my heart skipped a beat so bad in that moment. Ref you suck chance immediately followed after. Braun kicks Jey out onto ringside, and Braun runs again to Jey to get a nasty kick to the face. Jey charges and spears Braun through the barrier. Jey spears Braun again and does Uso splash, and he wins!
It was the most shocking thing ever.
Dude, we were looking at each other like, no
I think we were
way.
the only. I think we were maybe like about a few, like maybe one of maybe 100 people there that was not cheering.
Watching back, I saw we were still sitting when he won the title.
Yeah, we were just in utter shock that.
Like your
Braun
hands
Breaker.
were up in the air, like what the heck?
Yeah.
And then my mouth was my hand was covered in my mouth because I was just like, what?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, I
not
don't
that
mind.
we're not dissing this.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's awesome that Jey Uso won, but the thing
it's
is,
the way that they kind of.
you did
I felt like they screwed over Braun's image a lot by doing
that,
this.
and the fact that you do it at a Monday Night Raw event. I mean, it's usually it doesn't happen.
I like that it did happen.
I mean, I did
because
too. It is a rare
I like
thing.
that unpredictability. And
But Braun had that for 51 days. His championship, 51 days.
Dude, when he first came into NXT 2.0, he had it for like over
And how many
almost a
titles?
year.
How many titles? How many matches did he defend his title in his 51 days?
Only once, right? Is it once?
Yeah, I think
it
so.
Might be. We might
Once or
we might be
twice,
mistaken.
but yeah.
But yeah, like
I don't know how you
look,
build
I know
something.
I get people are gonna say like Jay's been in here for like 14 years. Finally, he gets a title. True,
Which is great.
true.
Awesome.
And then Braun's young, he could get it back.
Which is
I
also
agree
true.
with that.
Yes.
But at the same time, Braun also did just come back and is supposed to be like this dominating figure.
They were pushing him to be like the next Brock Lesnar.
Exactly. So it's kind of weird for him to lose to Jay. I mean, I'm happy that it happened.
I mean, he was
But,
spearing everybody on every Monday Night Raw that he was at, or when he was at Smackdown, he was just attacking everybody, and nobody was beating him. And he was barely ever, and like he was doing these matches where it would only be like one move and he'd take him out.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he gets the championship, You're thinking that he's going to have a dominant reign,
Mm-hmm.
and he has one defense. It was one defense against Jay. And it was, but yeah, congratulations to Jey Uso,
yeah,
though, for sure. I mean, it's
and
awesome.
That finish was great. I think
It was a great finish.
Definitely made it more believable. It was very awesome.
The only bummer was us trying to get out of the arena.
Oh my god, because Jay came out
where we were
where
like,
we were at, and it was kind of
sucked.
People were hoarding that area. We
Yeah,
had to like move the opposite.
it was rough.
Bad. Also, like in the video where he was getting interviewed immediately after, you could see a pale arm waving at the top of that speaking. But we didn't miss any matches, actually. The only matches we missed, I guess, quote unquote, was the main events ones weren't shown, but that's separate.
That's what I just kind of want to throw in that whole Karrion Kross thing in the beginning of the night.
Yeah.
It did validate why he was talking to The Miz. Because for people that didn't know that he wrestled, why was Karrion Kross talking to Miz in the first place?
For
It's because he was there and he wrestled.
And
so
now I'm gonna think that when I do see someone randomly show up, they probably wrestled earlier.
That's probably it.
But match card for next week: Kofi Kingston versus Chad Gable, Xavier Woods versus Rey Mysterio, and Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman in a last Monster Standing match.
And maybe JD McDonough versus AJ. I'm sorry.
Oh
Ilya
my god, he's so
Ilya
obsessed.
Ilya Dragunov. Because that's what they were trying
Dude, slipped through.
I know, it did. I'm jumping ahead.
Calm down. Calm down, man. He's getting crazy. All right, NXT September 24th edition, starting with Kalani versus Ren Sinclair. Quick match, honestly. Good variation of moves by Kalani. Ren did a splash onto her own team by accident, and shortly after lost to Kalani Jordan. Ethan Page press conference. Ethan says carrying this brand on his back is meant to come with pressure, but he handles it well. He was asked what Trick does well as a wrestler. Ethan gave kudos to him for being a former champion. How big of a factor will Punk be as a special guest referee was the next question, and Ethan replied that wouldn't change anything. Javon Evans is speaking to Punk backstage. Javon leaves while Trick comes in to tell Punk that Ethan's going to try a bunch of tricks to retain his title, and CM Punk acknowledges that Ethan will try to cheat, but he's going to make sure that the best man wins. But if Trick does lose, he has to raise Ethan's hand as the better man, but may the best man win. Trick looks appreciative. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory are there for Grayson Waller effect. Grayson says that he can't wait to leave NXT, and the crowd boos them. Axiom and Nathan Frazier come out for their part of the show. Grayson tells them that Nathan and Axiom are ready for Smackdown, which
is true.
But as individuals, not as a tag team. Which I'm like, they're great as individuals.
Also true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan and Axiom say that they are great together, and their team is not dying. For Axiom, they say. Grayson and Austin say they, when they beat Axiom and Frazier, Nathan, they will. Okay, I wrote this wrong, but Grayson basically, they say that they're going to beat Axiom and Frazier and get those NXT titles. Nathan announces that A10 Down Under versus Frazier and Axiom should be a 6 feet under. Austin reminds them that they are impressive, but there are levels to this game. Grayson explains that they shine under the brightest lights. Nathan says that they are like Grayson and Austin. That the show is not just the Grayson Waller effect, but it's the Grayson and Austin effect, which actually Austin says that that's a good idea, and Grayson doesn't really want to make him a part of that. Waller hits Nathan with the cheap shot, and both men get jumped by A10 Down Under. They lift up the tag titles above their bodies, which is weird to see, but I have confidence in my boys. Earlier in the day, Lexis King confronts Oro Mensah for being blindsided. Lexis told Oro that he's got deep-seated trauma or something. King tells Oro that he looks for violence and that he doesn't have a good relationship with his father. Lexis shares that his father wasn't around either, so he understands.
It's an odd angle for Lexis King.
Very odd angle.
I like he's like a youth guidance counselor or something.
You can't help but smile every time you hear his name, though. You were smiling when I said his name.
Who?
Lexis King.
Oh, I guess.
Hank and Tank come out to discuss the Good Brothers and their successes. They respect them, but they've crossed the line. Carmen Petrovic is seen speaking to Brinley Reese. Ashanti the Adonis breaks into that room. It looked like I don't know. There was just girls
it was
in there.
very weird.
Into handing out a rose. He sees Tatum and calls her a freak, but she doesn't scare him. Tatum claims her heart belongs to someone else. We already know who. Lyra Valkyria. And he tells Carmen lightning doesn't strike twice. In the same place twice, yes. Hank and Tank versus Good Brothers. It was a pretty quick match, I'm going to be honest. Nasty double spine busters by Carl Anderson onto Hank and Tank, onto each other. But Hank and Tank did their finisher and won this match. Javon is talking about the match with Randy that he will eventually have to Cedric Alexander. Cedric tells Javon that he's got him if he needs. And Austin and Grayson show up. Austin telling Javon that he was also the youngest rising star too, and Cedric is not gonna be able to help him. Javon yells, "Kevin Owens, what's up, my boy?" behind those guys, and to scare both Grayson and Austin. They did jump at that. You know what? This was a good week, but I would say that the matches in NXT were lagging. But it's because they needed to, hype up what's going to occur next week on the CW debut. Lexis King versus Oro Mensah. Cool roll and kick by Oro. We all know Oro Mensah's great. He's trained with Ilya Dragunov. That's his best friend. So Lexis had his legs on the rope and stopped before the count of 3. He said he's not going to win by cheating. He's not like that. Oro rolls up Lexis and put his leg on the rope, beating Lexis King, and Lexis looks confused. Poor Lexis was being the bigger man.
It's just a strange angle.
It is a very strange angle.
Lexis King right now.
For sure. Riley Osborne versus Rich Holland. Immediately, Riley does a flip onto Riley. Rich saved him, honestly. It was very dangerous.
Yes, he did save him.
Once both men entered the ring, somehow Riley is doing very great against him, honestly. Nice standing moonsault flip by Riley. Riley shoves Ridge into a barricade to break it. Well, eventually broke it. Riley attempted the shooting star press, but Ridge moved away and caught Riley with the DDT, and Ridge wins this match. Immediately, Ridge starts beating up Riley. Thea Hale yells "stop it" to Ridge while Ridge attacks him and shoves him into the stairs. Ridge grabs the broken barricade, and Thea got in the way of Ridge. Both men are separated by the refs. Miz announces that his Miz TV next week will feature Tony D'Angelo and Obafemi as guests, which is going to be very interesting. Pretty cool. Wesley and Zach Wentz are interviewed digitally, both men speaking to each other. Oop, my phone went off. Wes says that he doesn't want to talk to him at all. Wes wants to know how Trey is doing. Zach gets immediately mad. Zach is cussing left and right, telling Wes he's a bitch. Wes accounts for their match being different than what it is. Basically insinuating that he did better, but he lost.
Right.
Wes tells Zach, make sure Gigi doesn't watch, which I was like, Gigi? And my dad's like, Gigi Dolan? And I searched it up. I didn't know that they were together and they match.
They do match.
Wes goes to find Zach, and both men brawl backstage. There's a recap of NXT's time on USA Network, showing off the best era of all time, Black and Gold, to NXT 2.0 to now. I love Black and Gold. If people tell me what's your favorite WWE era of all time, it's Black and Gold NXT, and it's very closely tied with Attitude Era. It may seem absurd for people that are like, oh, how is Attitude Era not the best one? I swear, NXT Black and Gold is the best. Every time, dude, when I was watching, I'm like, oh my god, like I was like naming off everybody because I'm like, those were all the GOATs, and it was the best time in NXT. Loved it. Seeing my boys, the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Asuka, Ember Moon. All of the above. There's so many people.
Matt Riddle.
Awesome. It was awesome to see that. Lola Vice is speaking to Ava, but the GM Ava. But Jada Parker came in. Ava invited both of them there because they will tag together against the Fatal Influence. And both women are complaining. They don't want to tag together, and both women leave to look for the Fatal Influence. Wendy Chu and Rosemary versus Carmen Petrovic and Brindley Reese. Seems as though most of the time Carmen Petrovic and Brindley Reese somehow had the upper hand. Ashanti Theodonis came out to give a flower to a woman in the crowd. And this is so weird, but Carmen Petrovic got distracted confronting Ashanti as if she was like butthurt about that.
No sense.
Brindley Reese gets jumped by Wendy, and Rosemary lost the match. Rosemary's finisher was
awesome.
legit.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was really good.
Yeah. Sol Ruka is speaking to Punk. Soul leaves as Ethan comes in. Ethan says that he doesn't appreciate Punk's words. He tells Punk that he worked too hard for this title and he can't afford Punk's drama. Punk says that he's calling it down the middle, and he reminded he reminded Ethan that he only won by falling on top of a guy while unconscious. And if Ethan is the man he says he is, then he will prove himself next week. Which is true. I mean, bro.
Very true. That is true.
Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Javon is rolling them at the start, which is to be expected. He's a very great wrestler. Dangerous move by Javon and Cedric. Javon looked as if he was going to land on his head during a move. The height that Javon gets during his jumps, very crazy high. Nasty forearm combo by A-Town down under. Both Grayson and Theory jump Cedric by himself. Nathan and Axiom come out to confront the men, ruining Javon's chance of winning. Austin gives A-Town down to Javon and wins. Nathan is mad at Axiom. And Grayson and Austin stood on top of the commentary desk. Trick is asked about the biggest match of his career that is coming soon at a press conference. Trick says that at a press conference. Yeah, it was at a press conference. Trick says that he had the titles once, but he wants it back. The champ can't be Ethan Page, and it has to be him. He asked about Punk, and he replied that he spoke to Punk and acknowledges that he would call it down the middle, but all Trick has got to do is get the job done, control his emotions, and breed Trick Williams and become the NXT champion again. And he actually quoted Pete Dunne because Pete Dunne was the one who told him to figure it out, and he said that he will.
Wise words from Pete Dunne.
That's right. All right, last segment here. Julia and Roxanne Perez press conference. Julia is asked about whether she is impressed or intimidated by Roxanne's championship reign, and if she can uphold to Roxanne's level. Julia says, in Japanese, Roxanne has shown that she is the prodigy, but now her time is up. I saw she came to NXT at 20 years old to carry the brand, but she came to NXT to become NXT champion. Julia said that she will show NXT is in a new era, and it's time for Roxanne to pass the torch to her. Roxanne is asked that the hype of Julia is real, and Julia can back it up. How does that change her outlook on the match? Roxanne says that she was a fan of Julia and studying her matches in Japan, and she questioned if their paths would cross, and it would be a dream match for her, basically. A dream match for Julia, actually. My mistake. Julia has never stepped inside the ring with someone that has the equity that Roxanne has, so she claims, and she is the reason that Julia came to NXT looking for her. Roxanne says she knows why why this championship is the only one that matters, and that's why Julia made her way looking for Roxanne. Julia asked, did you ever ask what would happen when I beat you? Julia is asked if she is overconfident about this match. She says no. She feels good moving to America, and having been incredible, and although everything is new, what is not new is that she's still the most feared wrestler in the world, and NXT gets to feel the beautiful madness that is her. All of a sudden you hear Spanish, and you're like, oh, what's that? Stephanie Vaquer asked a question to them, saying, what are you going to do when you have me on the other side waiting for the NXT Women's Championship? Which was awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
That's how that ended.
Yeah.
There are no matches that we missed. And matches for the CW debut episode in Chicago next week are Ethan Page versus Trick Williams with CM Punk as special guest referee for the NXT Championship. Roxanne Perez versus Julia for the Women's NXT Championship. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, the Women's Tag Team Champions, will appear. Miz will host Miz TV with guests Tony D'Angelo and Obafemi, and Jada Parker and Lola Vice versus 2 members of Fatal Influence. It's going to be pretty epic.
Pretty cool.
Ooh, spooky. And we know that if Roxanne loses, she's definitely making her way to the main roster.
Pretty much. And I think that's pretty much what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's going to be going to the main roster.
And I don't care who wins between Ethan and Trick because I like them both.
I think Ethan's going to continue to hold that title.
All right, we'll see. Randy Orton. I'm getting ahead of myself. Friday Night Smackdown, September 27th edition. Started with Randy Orton arriving first. He welcomes everyone to the show. He can count the amount of people he trusts in this business on one hand, and one of which is Cody Rhodes. It was hard for him to see Cody team up with Roman for the Bad Blood match. He said something doesn't add up, and he needs an explanation. Cody Rhodes comes out, and Cody says Randy deserves an explanation out of everyone, considering what he has been through with the bloodline. He asks Randy, would you rather be a fool or a coward, because Cody looks like a fool teaming with Roman? he was given Roman's word, and historically Roman has kept his word to Cody when it came to WrestleMania, not returning after his loss and making sure he do everything to keep that title. Cody says Randy, out of all people, should understand that the Bloodline's power needs to be killed. He hopes that this partnership is not a problem, and Randy says it's no problem unless Cody makes it a problem. Kevin Owens comes out. Before Kevin could speak, Solo Sikoa arrives with Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa. Solo is happy to see all of them in the ring to get his message across without having to meet them separately. Solo acknowledges that Roman gave Cody his word and that Cody should trust him because Cody's going to need it, and Kevin and Randy are no good for Cody. Questioning just how long it has taken for them to defeat the Bloodline, Solo says that the reason that Cody's teaming up with Roman is that every time he teams up with Kevin and Randy, they always lose, which is true. Kevin says that no one cares what Solo has to say and challenges them to a tag team match. Kevin rejects Cody's participation and offers that he and Randy take on Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. This was very interesting. This next thing. Nia Jax is backstage, saying that she doesn't understand why they lost last week. She asked Tiffany to explain it, and before Tiffany could even say anything, Nia chokes Tiffany.
Grabs her by the throat.
Yeah. And Nia tells her, if this ends bad for her, then it will end really, really bad for Tiffany. And Nia smiles, saying, now they can be friends. And she walked away, and then Tiffany looked pissed. That was crazy. I was like,
very crazy.
What? All right, Bayley versus Naomi, number 1 contenders match for a shot against Nia Jax at Bad Blood for the Women's Championship. What a tongue twister. Naomi has an Uno-themed outfit, which is...
It was awesome. Pretty cool.
You liked it? Oh,
I thought it was cool.
I thought it looked kind of ugly.
Well, I played Uno a lot when I was younger.
Well, me too, man. I hate stacking, bro. Stop stacking. Bad botch by Bayley in the corner for a sunset flip powerbomb.
Yeah, that was a really bad.
It was a very bad botch. There was a series of counters. Good effort on both parts, but Bayley did a Bayley to belly, which ended the match with a flying elbow drop too. She will face Nia Jax at Bad Blood for the Women's Championship, and Naomi seems frustrated with the outcome. Backstage, Andrade is seen prepping for his fight against Carmelo. LA Knight is seen. Andrade confronts LA Knight and telling him that he has lost his respect for him. Carmelo attacks LA Knight from behind, and Carmelo says he's got some for Andrade, leading to their matchup next. Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade 6. Andrade did a power slam to Carmelo whilst being between the ropes, which was awesome. I never seen anything like that.
Very cool move. Yeah, totally never seen that before.
Nice first 48 by Carmelo. Andrade charged at Carmelo, and it came basically out of nowhere. Weird but cool springboard like DDT by Carmelo. Melo does a figure 4 onto Andrade. Another double moonsault by Andrade. Andrade does homage to Eddie Guerrero with the shimmy, like elbow shimmy. Cool cutter by Melo. That was a really cool cutter, honestly. And LA Knight cuts in, distracting Andrade. He gets rolled up for Melo to win, tying the score 3-3 between Andrade and Carmelo. Andrade is arguing with LA Knight, and Andrade refused to shake Knight's hand.
I know we didn't address these in the previous segments, but the best matches of the night. This would be the Smackdown one for sure.
The Carmelo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a good match.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a great match.
Oh yeah.
But the Jay one was good too.
Well, Jay and Braun for the Raw was definitely the match of the night.
Yeah. All right. Randy and Kevin are talking backstage. Cody comes in, and you could tell that there's a problem with Kevin, or Kevin has a problem with him. Kevin says they can't talk about it right now, just to do it another time. They're prepping for their match against Jacob and Solo. He said Cody shouldn't get involved. Kevin leaves. Randy says so he said that Cody shouldn't get involved, and then Kevin basically left. Randy says that they might need help if the Tongans come out, and he will tell Kevin that it might happen. Oh boy, ready for this one, guys? He's gonna start getting so excited. AJ Styles is returning to Smackdown next Friday. How do you feel?
I feel good about it.
You're like, I'm so happy.
I am. I'm stoked. I mean, he is the man that built SmackDown. He made SmackDown what it was. So
that's crazy.
I'm glad to see. I just wonder what his storyline is gonna be.
That's true. I feel like
I don't know really where.
What was my theory? I said my theory was a 4v4 bloodline Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga Tonga Loa, and Solo Sokoa versus Kevin, Randy, Cody, and AJ. Because AJ last match was with Cody, and he might want to help him against.
And he does have some beef against the
Solo
the bloodline.
Took him out.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it probably most likely be LA Knight.
I don't know.
I think
maybe.
that's kind of where it's gonna go, or maybe he might start the Bullet Club. There is 2 members in there.
Bring back Adam Cole playing.
Right.
Beechin versus Piper Niven is the next match. Chelsea is assisting with bringing out some trash, and that trash was basically useless. I'm gonna be honest.
Right.
Piper is dominating Beechin for the most part, delivering a cannonball to her on ringside and in the ring corner. Some interesting moves by Beechin. Piper cannonballed into the garbage can, leaning on a barricade, and Beechin delivers her finisher and wins. Pretty intriguing.
Still good to see Meechin win.
Oh yeah, for sure, and good to see Piper
still being pushed.
For sure.
Yeah, I say that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair are revealed to be the hosts for Bad Blood, which is interesting. Backstage, Bayley said that she's sorry for how the match turned out. Naomi scared Bayley by being hostile, but it was all pretend. Naomi said it's all good if Bayley wins. Tiffany shows up and called Naomi pathetic, and that Naomi will get to watch Nia destroy Bayley at Bad Blood. Naomi says since Tiffany isn't wrestling anytime soon, maybe she should ask Nick Aldis to get the chance to fight Tiffany, which will cheer her up from this title shot loss, which I'm assuming is happening next week. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. Jacob Fatu opens the ropes for Solo, which I thought
like a couple of times, actually.
Yeah, like a little princess.
Kevin Owens kicked the rope though.
Yeah, he did the first time.
Yeah.
But he still did it afterwards.
Yeah, he still did it again.
Okay, Jacob was dropped onto the announce desk by Randy. Jacob got up, basically like it was nothing, and Randy replied with 3 or 4 more in a row.
4 more of those, yeah.
Yeah, and then Solo 2 was also dropped on the announce desk just once though. Kevin has been getting beaten up for the most part and is unable to tag Randy in. Kevin clotheslines and cannonballs both Solo and Jacob on ringside. He does a frog splash onto Jacob onto the floor and a swanton onto Solo in the ring. The Tongans, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa interfere and distract Kevin. Cody Rhodes appears and he gave a DDT to Tongaloa on ringside. Cody was thrown into the ring and hit the ref. Kevin asked Cody, "What are you doing?" distracting Kevin, causing them to lose and the Bloodline to win. Kevin pushed Cody and was getting mad that Randy basically tried to regulate the whole thing, and then Kevin
intervened.
In to hug Cody.
Yeah, he intervened and stopped it, and they gave each other a hug.
So yeah, that was the end of that night. Yeah. Pretty interesting.
A lot of things are gonna be. A lot of things will change once the Bad Blood thing occurs.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and then it's just kind of the question of where it goes from there. But
you know, I really hope that somehow Cody and Roman lose. I don't know how this. I mean, happen.
It's either that they win, and then it's kind of like okay. There is that wild card, like this long shot theory that maybe Roman turns on Cody. Of course, that's like probably not going to happen, but boy, that would be a heel pop for sure.
For sure. All right. Next week's match card would be the Bloodlines, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa defending their tag team championship against DIY and Street Profits in a triple threat ladder match.
That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Then we got
oh wait.
What?
It's Tama Tonga and
Tongaloa. I told you. I
don't know. Never mind. I'm kind of like, I don't know. Tongaloa is doing a ladder.
I'm scared.
There's a lot of obstacles there. I mean, yeah.
AJ Styles will be making his return. Yeah, but as we know, he's smiling.
Cool. I'm happy about it, man. He's
over here.
He's good
Naomi
for business.
And Tiffany Stratton, a singles match, possibly. Honestly, the update, very good. Meechin versus Chelsea Green dumpster match.
Oh Oh yeah, for sure. That should be
And
cool.
that should be it so far. Obviously, they'll announce more and more. Not a lot of side notes, I'll be honest. Not a lot of side notes this week. Majority of the wrestling news this week has been about Vince, whether that's the documentary that's been recently released or the lawsuit that is ongoing, or the comments from other wrestlers or celebrities about the docuseries or anything about Vince, really. So, first, MVP debuted in AEW on AEW Dynamite to tell I don't know who this is. Prince Nana? Prince Nana? To tell Prince Nana that he had his eye on Swerve Strickland for a while now, and that he wants to help Swerve reach the top again, handing over his business card.
Swerve's
Guy?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's like a manager for Swerve Strickland.
Okay, well, anyways, yeah. He basically says that he wants to help Swerve become champ again. Cool.
Did Swerve lose his championship?
To Daniel Bryan, no, I think. We couldn't tell you, man.
No.
Sorry, we don't watch AEW.
We don't watch AEW.
Sorry, AEW fans, we don't watch.
Yeah.
It's not like we're
not
we're
against-
hating. We're hating.
No, I mean, I'm not
I'm just
against it completely.
It's just really it's empty.
It's just a lot of matches.
Yeah, it's just matches.
And there's not
Which
a lot
is
of
cool,
story.
but
So I mean,
story, yeah.
I mean, I guess I supposedly they're supposed to be going to HBO Max, their pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So if that is confirmed and that is true, then we start watching those pay-per-views.
Yeah. WWE announced their first ever 2-night SummerSlam that will take place Saturday, August 2nd and Sunday, August 3rd, 2025 at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey with Cardi B as a feature part of the show. Should be pretty cool because I remember a year ago they were mentioning this 2-night thing,
Right.
which honestly I think majority of wrestling fans anticipated would happen this year, but it didn't. So it's happening next year. So that's going to be pretty cool. Updates on Hikuleo's status. He is rumored to be the newest addition to the Bloodline. Hikuleo's contract had expired with New Japan Pro Wrestling in June of this year. He is the half-brother of Tama Tonga and adopted son of Haku. He could be integrated in the Bloodline storyline. However, according to PW Insider, it is reported that he is listed internally on the NXT roster, which is different from how Tongaloa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu were going straight to the main roster. It is possible that he trains in NXT before making his way to the main roster in order to understand and adapt his styles to the WWE format. I'm looking forward to this.
Me too. Should be kind of cool.
Yeah. All right, and this is my last side note because, like I said, not a lot. Freddie Prinze Jr., former WWE writer, makes concerning claims that if Raw does move to 2 hours as opposed to 3 hours, which is the current run time for the show, then WWE, as a result, will release some wrestlers. And he said, quote, "They're moving it and cutting down to 2 hours, which I've always thought is the perfect amount of time. I predict that they will not have as many wrestlers on the roster as they currently do because there won't be enough time for them. That's a full hour less of matches, segments, storylines, backstage segments, promos in the ring, a full hour less, which means it won't be cost effective for them to carry that many wrestlers. They are now owned by TKO, another corporation, and they will do a cost effective. They'll think they'll do a cost effective. This wrestler is not being used, cut him. This wrestler is not being used, cut him, kind of thing, which gives more opportunities for wrestlers to go to AEW, to go to another brand if it's out there,
Right. Yeah. For sure.
End quote. Basically, that was what he said, which I agree. I mean, how are they gonna be able to advertise so many people unless they start moving them to Smackdown? But there's only so much you could do with now Smackdown gonna be, it's now gonna be 3 hours. So I don't anticipate that they would do such a thing.
This all goes back to what we said last time about writing and good writers writing storylines and giving people opportunities and letting them go with it and use their character and like their charisma and everything. This is the same thing that we were talking about last time. This is the problem with that.
Yeah, and honestly, like I don't think a lot of I mean, I'm not going to speak for wrestlers that don't get used, but I think a lot of them too wouldn't be that hurt with the fact that they can't go or that they're going to be released because it just they don't do them well, and especially on Raw, I would say there's a lot of talent on the Raw roster that you just have never seen yet, and that's unfortunate. Yeah, I don't see them doing a move like that. I feel like obviously they think of these things in advance. Part of me believes that they already had anticipated cutting a lot of those people in Raw. If what he's saying is true, which I trust that, because I mean he's a writer, he's gonna know that they they want to make things as um they want to get the most profit that they possibly can. And you know, I'm gonna be honest. Like I've noticed too that recently, especially for Raw, particularly, I mentioned this last week. Raw going down to 2 hours is simply for the fact that that third hour is just not getting a lot of views. They've been dropping each week in viewership. Obviously, it's still high viewership. I mean, it's still like kind of remains above like 1.5 million.
Right.
But it's still dropping.
Again, that just has to do with bad storylines again. They're not
Yeah.
making anything interesting for people to go and want to pay attention to it week on week, because it's the same thing. It's it's Drew, CM Punk. But and ... What else? What other storyline is really big in Raw right now?
Judgment Day. And like Liv and Bria and the Terror Twin thing.
But is it though? I mean,
It is.
I
Because
mean,
we see it all the time.
It is pretty much
What do you
it. But I
mean?
mean, but is it kind of become stale?
Well,
Do you find
yeah,
it
but that
to be-
doesn't mean it's not
I know,
happening.
but I mean, it's
like,
not like an interesting one, I guess, to some people. Maybe that's part of it as well.
Some people's you, but
Okay. That is me.
yeah. I just think it's pretty like I want to throw like harsh words out there, but I think it's just pretty pathetic that these writers can't possibly
Right.
make anything good for these people. Like I will say on one hand, like with Ilya Dragunov, let's like give him an example. I'm glad that they're being very careful with him.
True.
So like I'm glad that he's not really involved so much because
True.
I want them to be careful with him.
True.
But on the other hand, there's also talent that are also good that they just really don't give that chance to because they don't even try to like make anything for them. You know, there's a difference. You know, like with Ilya, I know they're cooking something up for him that's perfect for like these next few years or so. But for others, not so much. And I think that's very unfortunate that these people get paid to do basically nothing at this point. I mean, you can't run with the same stars over and over because there's only so many things they could do without it becoming very, how do I say it? Like, kind of just
Like stagnant.
dramatic.
Oh.
Like, how would I give an example? 911. Do you guys watch 911, the LA show?
Jeez.
Because it was good. And then when I got the ad for the new season that Athena was going into a cruise ship and then it crashes or like Titanic-esque kind of emergency.
And also like the Killer Bees as well.
The Killer Bees is this other one. It's just very dramatic. It makes no sense that it's just that much drama. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean that like if say Seth Rollins for like 5 years till now is still like on the top of his game and has unlimited amount of rivalries at that point, it's just like, bro, like does anyone even like you at this rate? Like it's just very I don't know how to say it. Like I don't have the proper verbiage to like say what I mean. It's just very hectic and it makes no sense to give so much material to someone, just one person. I mean, just one person. I mean, there's stuff that you can give to these people.
Well, I guess like the CM Punk Drew McIntyre Hell in the Cell is pretty much kind of like that's going to be the final nail for that rivalry.
Hopefully.
And then it kind of goes someplace else because they do need
Hopefully.
to have they need to change it up a little bit. CM Punk needs to go up against somebody else, like either goes after Gunther or something. They have to do that.
Yeah,
and then
they
the
need to
same
move
thing
on.
with Judgment Day. Like I know right now it's the Terror Twins and the Judgment Day thing. But eventually, even that is going to get to a point, and I think it already has, at least for me, and maybe some other people. But I already think it's gotten to a point where it's just like the whole Judgment Day being a main focus in general is becoming annoying.
I
Like,
understand the
give
whole
the Judgment Day somebody else to go up again.
like I understand that he does, Triple H wants this whole like long-term booking kind
Sure.
of thing. But how long are we thinking Triple H? Because some of the stuff, like you said, it's very dragged out. And
Here's a thought. Here's a good thought for a rivalry to begin: the Wyatt Six and Judgment Day.
I thought that before the Judgment Day changed.
But I think now because of the fact that Finn and all them betrayed Damian Priest.
Family, you're so
Yeah,
right.
it's gonna push into that, and I think
You're
that would actually
right.
be a lot better
Huh.
because anybody that watches that, okay, Chad Gable's great, but let's just be real. Do you really think Finn Balor is gonna be getting punked by Uncle Howdy?
You know, be a freak.
No way,
You know,
because he's
be a
gonna
freak
turn to
incident.
he turns into the demon.
No. What if the opposite happens? Yeah, okay, obviously this is not going to be this way because, you know, the Judgment Day are technically the bad guys and baby faces are Rhea and Damian. But what if the Wyatt Six attack Rhea and Damian instead and they form a team with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso? That's what I said. It doesn't make any sense. But hear me out.
But maybe that could actually be.
It's possible.
That's actually possible, and I'm not saying the Sammy and Jey Uso thing.
No,
I'm
Sami
saying,
and Jey Uso.
I'm
It has to
saying
be them.
is that because of the fact that it seems that it was the ego of Damian Priest and Rhea
Mm-hmm.
and the bossiness that they had with Judgment Day,
Mm-hmm.
which is the same thing Chad Gable was doing in
Mm-hmm. With the
American
American Alpha.
Yeah,
I mean,
American
Alpha Academy.
Alpha Academy. He was doing that same thing.
True.
So where is these cryptic videos? Where are these attacks that are going to be happening to the Terror Twins? Because that's what they were doing. They put themselves over their family, which is the same thing Chad Gable did.
Oh, yeah. I think you're on track there.
I think that would be awesome because I would like to see the Wyatt Six do all the kind of the same things that they were doing to Chad Gable, but doing it to Damian Priest and doing it to Rhea would be pretty cool.
Yeah. That's
Because they're like untouchable
it
characters.
literally works both ways, though.
But they're untouchable characters. Like you can't do that to like Damian Priest because they have the babyface power,
Got it.
and Rhea has the babyface power that she can walk on a crutch. She be in crutches, and all of a sudden she's okay. The power of Hogan, like that kind of stuff.
Not a babyface fan.
I'm
Also,
not
speaking of which,
either.
when we went to the Monday Night Raw show, I noticed that everybody I was cheering for were the people that the wrestlers that people were booing most of the time.
And just to, like really quickly, one of the highlights of our event when we went on Monday Night Raw was one guy sat there and said, "Say his name," and he appears. And there was a few. There was a good amount of people that were singing the Joe Hendry.
Yep.
So.
And clapping.
Ugh. So that was great.
That was literally the highlight there.
It was.
It was. That's basically
it. That's it.
You know what? Let's see if we're spot on because I do think you're spot on with that, and I think it could go
I actually
both ways.
hope I am because I think that's actually would be kind of cool.
I think it could go both ways though. Like
I think that's a big thing.
They
I think that
could
would be
go
cool.
for the Judgment Day and say like, hey, like you betrayed part of your family.
Yes.
But then they could also think of it like an ego thing
Right.
with Rhea and Damian and be
Right.
like, hey, you betrayed your family.
But most likely though, it will probably be
On the
with
Judgment
Finn.
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would.
It's not gonna happen
I
another
would
way.
be. I would be super stoked
Oh,
if it was
dude, if it
against
happened
Damian
another way.
Priest and Rhea. That would
for
be
sure.
amazing.
For sure.
That would be amazing. I would be like, wow, those writers, and I'd be like, Triple H, hell yeah.
That's right.
That you went that way because that's unexpected.
Yeah, it's not
Very
expected.
unexpected.
I love that. And
Yeah, that would be really cool.
that would be very great.
That'd be really cool.
Well, thank you guys
Yeah.
so much for listening.
Thank you.
Let us know your thoughts on this week's stuff. What do you think about Jey Uso being IC champion? How long do you think he will be IC champion
How do you
for?
feel about Braun Breaker losing his title so quickly?
I've
Do you
heard-
feel like he can bounce back from this?
I've
What are your
heard-
thoughts on that? And what if you think I'm crazy about my Wyatt Six Judgment Day thing?
Then tell him he's wrong.
Let me tell you I'm wrong. But also remember, like, mark this day because if it ends up happening, we're gonna come back to this video.
That's right.
And we're
That's
gonna
right.
sit there and say like, I don't think I've heard anyone else talk about this online anywhere.
Hire us.
No,
Hire
well.
us.
Well. That would be great.
I know. What a
All
dream.
right.
All right. Yep. Bye. Thank you.
Take care.